Hello everybody, I have another review from a movie I saw at TIFF, one of the most anticipated films of the year, The Wild Robot, directed by three-time Academy Award nominated Chris Sanders, the director of How to Train Your Dragon. Already being hailed as being a new animated classic, let's talk about it. And a warning, this review is from a point of view of an adult man. I know it's intended for children, so please, please, please take this review with a grain of salt. So this is based off a best-selling children's book, and it follows a robot named Roz who is shipwrecked on an island and has to learn to adapt to the harsh surroundings and the beasts that inhabit the island. Right off the bat, Wild Robot's animation is absolutely breathtaking. It almost feels like a blend of a variety of animation styles, both hand-drawn and computer, creating its own unique look. The director has kind of described it as being kind of a style that's like a Monet painting in a Miyazaki forest, which I think is a really nice way of describing it. It's filled with just these incredibly stunning animated compositions. It's beautiful. The film immediately jumps into the story as Roz is kind of shipwrecked and, being an assisting robot, starts to kind of chase down animals, desperate to do what it's programmed to do and offer its assistance. So one of my favorite qualities about Wild Robot is actually its sense of humor. It's a children's movie, but there's actually some really great, sometimes darkly funny jokes and bits that I was not expecting from this film, but I thought it was very funny. This movie made me laugh quite a bit. The story itself, I wouldn't say is like entirely original. It's really hard not to think of films like My Iron Giant or Big Hero 6. The first half of Wild Robot I found really charming. You know, watching Roz kind of learn to be a mother upon discovering a little baby goose that she takes in to raise. It's cute. The second half, you know, is about this goose, now a teenager, being taught to fly. And then the film ramps up the action in its last part, and it's just one big, large, action-driven finale. And this is always the struggle for me, because I can't shake knowing that everything's going to be fine anyways. It's all going to work out, so, you know, why bother worrying? Wild Robot's story, for the most part, I would say is engaging. I wouldn't say it necessarily took me to places that I wasn't expecting. The only true surprises, I would say, really just came in those occasionally snarky, really funny jokes. Now, maybe I'm being a little unfair, because maybe I shouldn't be expecting something really profound from a kid's movie. I'm sure I'm not the target demo for this film anyways. And I guess I can't expect the entire film to be just like Roz learning the island, having encounters with animals that teach her things, and then watching Roz kind of learn what it means to be a mom without this kind of action-driven sequence in the movie. But could we have? I would have liked it. I kind of compare it to my experience watching Up. Like, when I think of Up, I think about that first half. I think about that beautiful montage of Carl and Ellie. I don't think about the action sequence on the airship with Ted Turner or whoever that was. When I think back on Wild Robot, I will always think more about the first half. Either way, I have to go back to the animation, because the animation, really, honestly, Wild Robot always gives you something to marvel at, and it does go a long way. What also does a lot of the lifting is Wild Robot's score by Chris Bowers, which is phenomenal. It's definitely one of the highlights of the film. It's just so grand. It's sweeping. It's one of those scores that, like, once you hear it, you'll immediately recognize it, because you'll be like, Wild Robot, love that score. The voice work is also strong, but the spirit of the film comes from Lupita Nyong'o, who voices Roz, giving a fully felt, fully realized voice performance. You know, and Nyong'o makes Roz so lovably naive, and even with that kind of robotic, stiff demeanor, she gives the character a lot of heart. Pedro Pascal, he's a fox, both in real life and in the film. I actually made it through the entire film without recognizing that it was even him. And he gets a lot of good little zingers in there. He's very fun. For whatever reason, Brightbill, a bird that Roz raises, he didn't really do much for me. I don't know why. He spends half the movie being kind of a brooding little turd. I mean, he's going through puberty. I should probably cut him some slack, but ultimately I kind of felt like the voice didn't really have like real emotion behind it. So I didn't really empathize with that character that much. It was all about Roz for me. What I do also love though is they cast all these kind of adorable kid actor voices that they use for the small baby animals, like a little family of possum kids. I thought that was absolutely adorable. I love it. You know, Wild Robot, it's a cute movie. It is cute. It's a believer in free will and not being able to go against what you're programmed to be. At least that's essentially what I got from it. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I heard a lot of sniffles around me towards the end, but you know, I'm dead inside, so no sniffles for me. However, The Wild Robot is a gorgeously animated adventure that kids will love. Adults will also be entertained. I love the animation. It's top-notch. I think the story is serviceable. However, the film managed to make me laugh a few times. And the score swept me up and was convincing me that like I was watching some grand adventure. I'm going to give The Wild Robot a 7 out of 10. I'd ultimately recommend watching it, especially for that animation. Now let's go ahead and talk about Oscars. This is obviously a huge contender in the animated feature category. This year I think is really, really strong. Inside Out 2 is probably its major threat. After watching this, I actually thought that Inside Out, being about complex emotions, may actually have an upper hand over a film that feels a little bit made more for children. But I think back to the animation and the inventive, fresh style, and I think maybe it has the edge. I'm really looking forward to seeing Memoir of a Snail. I think that looks really great. Boy and the Heron won last year, so it's starting to feel like there's perhaps some flexibility within the Academy to embrace something like Memoir of a Snail. But for sure, The Wild Robot is being nominated, but I don't think it's like an absolute grand slam. The race is over, it's winning. I think it's in the lead. I'd put it number 1 today, but I kind of want to wait and get a sense of whether it ends up being the kind of cultural phenomenon I think it will be. But if it's not, yeah, maybe Inside Out it could come back. One nomination I am rooting for, and I think it's deserving, is for score. I think it's possible. If it gets in score, I think it's definitely winning animated feature, like done. But those are my thoughts on The Wild Robot. Let me know in the comments section below. Am I emotionally dead? Did you enjoy The Wild Robot? Feel free to click the subscribe button down below for more movie reviews and Oscar-related content. You can follow me on Letterboxd if you want. Instagram, links in the bio down below. Thanks always for watching, and until next time, I will see you at the Oscars.